with Pokémon Sword and Shield coming out in November, everyone's been getting a little buzzed about the National Dex, sheep Pokemon, N64 style trees, and slutty water type gym leaders, and I thought, why don't we just take this back down to zero and take a look at the roots of 3D Pokemon games. Pokémon X and Y. Of course, it's not the first 3D Pokemon game overall, just in the main series, but shut up, you know what I mean. Both X and Y were released on 3DS in October of 2013, and although I only own a physical copy of X because disco dear, I've also played Y through less than legal means. Don't rat me out, we got a good livestream series out of it. The games were ridiculously successful, as you'd expect for the Pokémon series, becoming the second best-selling game on the platform, right behind Mario Kart 7, of course. I think it's safe to say the game was well-liked, but it was the first attempt at a 3D mainline Pokémon game, and clearly there were a few issues that needed to be worked out. And clearly there are still a few issues with 3D Pokemon games, but we'll get to that in November, mark your calendars. Okay, so we all know how Pokemon games work, right? It's a world where creatures called Pokemon exist basically everywhere, and you can catch them and add them to your team and fight other Pokemon with them. X and Y takes place in the Kalos region specifically, which is based on France, and I'm Canadian, which means I understand French perfectly, so I'm totally prepared for this. Oh wait, I'm not from Quebec? Then I've literally never heard the language in my life, never mind. You can play as a boy or a girl, and I chose the girl because girls tend to get more fashion variety and because I prefer to have cheeks. And before you ask, yes, that's an emulator bug, the male trainer in the actual game has his cheeks fully intact. And yes, all the gameplay footage is from the live streams, what of it? One thing to note is that this is the first Pokemon game to include the ability to customize your trainer. You can pick one of 3 default choices that you can alter over the course of the game by visiting clothing stores and salons. I think you all knew how that was going to turn out for me, but we'll get more into that later. So as the game starts, you're the new kid in town, that town being Vanilleville Town. You meet your friends/rivals, and most Pokemon games stick to 1 or 2 friends that you battle regularly, but this game has 4. Your main rival is the trainer you didn't pick, either Calum or Serena. Don't think there's much of a difference besides cheek retention. There's also Shauna, Tierno, and Trevor, and the 4 of them barely add up to 1 personality, so don't expect much. There is an option for them to call you by a nickname though, and I was pretty satisfied with that. No particular reason why. They've all been chosen by Benedict Cumberbatch, Professor Sycamore, to go on an adventure, I guess. But first they have to meet him in Paris, Lumio City. And here we go, let's check out these starters. We've got Chespin, Fennekin, and Froakie. Which one should I choose? Oh right, the cute one. And before we really get into this, I'd like to take a minute to provide some hot takes on the 72 new Pokemon introduced in this generation. Because not all Pokemon are created equal, at least in a design sense. A trend that continues to this day. Okay, time to piss some people off. That's just a dog. Adorable. Abomination. Cute, but could be cuter. Oh, that's perfect. Ah, fuck, go back. Just a bird. Just a bird. Just a bird. Ooh, trans rights. What the hell is that? That's still not any better. What? Oh, that's a cool sword. 2 cool swords. Oh, what the? It's not 3 swords? Get rid of it. Yep, not good. Not an improvement. What do you mean it's not an ice type? Oh, that's valid. Terrifying, but still valid. It's a fucking keyring. If that's all it takes, turns out I own a Pokemon in real life right now. Yeah, that should spark a few arguments, have at it. Of course, some are unavailable depending on what version you bought, which I will always hate. I know you know I don't have friends, Game Freak, but I'm still not buying the same game twice. Anyway, let's begin our adventure. The main plot revolves around stopping this game's resident evil organization, Team Flare. And I haven't played every Pokemon game, but I'm just gonna call it, Team Flare is the worst evil team in the whole series. Their plan is basically kill everyone except themselves, their outfits are hideous, seriously, what the hell is this? And gosh, I wonder who their leader could possibly be. Couldn't be Lion Mane Elon Musk, could it? What a mystery. The only good thing about Team Flare is that this song slaps. know what? I want to talk more about the story, and this will not be spoiler-free. Skip to this time if you prefer to go in somewhat blind. The story overall is weirdly formulaic and dull, especially for a Pokemon game, and it's not treated as important at all, even though it covers some heavy topics. Lysander, who's definitely not evil, tries to explain that people are eating up resources and they gotta die. Classic Thanos approach. He tries to paint his actions as righteous, but in practice, his crew is totally screwing up that image. They are explicitly bad people, and apparently they only get to be in Team Flare because they paid to be? None of them are treating this like an unfortunate necessity. They're all happy that they'll be the only ones with anything after their evil machine wipes out everything. They're thrilled about killing everyone. It's fucked up, and it's so weird how the game doesn't treat this like a big deal at all. When you stop the machine, everyone just kinda shrugs and says, "Cool, let's go back to the adventure." You just saved the world, and almost nobody cares. Preventing the apocalypse was just a minor setback. Nobody takes it seriously. Just before your final battle with Calum, he says that neither side was right and it's best to meet halfway. That might be the worst thing you could say when one side wanted genocide. You can't meet someone halfway on an ideal like that because, even if they kill less people, that's still killing people. What the hell is this narrative? Also, this guy is pointless, but I appreciate the meme. In short, the story is pretty bad, bordering on terrible. But no big deal, you're an epic gamer. You're not here for the story, you're here for the Pokémon, damn it. And this game provides much more interaction with them using Pokémon Ami. You get it? Here, you can pet your Pokemon, feed them, and play crappy minigames to increase your friendship. There's also super training to raise invisible stats, commonly called EVs, but I never used it in either game, so I'm not gonna talk about it. The classic turn-based system doesn't seem to have changed much, although type strength and weaknesses were slightly altered to account for the newly introduced Fairy type. I'd have to go Pastel Goth for that. There were also some older Pokemon that had their type entirely changed to Fairy. I appreciate the creation of this type because Fairy-type Pokemon are usually the cutest. Hate all you want, I know what I'm about. But there were other changes added to battles. I think it would be fair to call them gimmicks. There are sky battles that only certain flying Pokemon can participate in. I never saw the point in them. Next are horde encounters in which 5 of the same Pokemon will attack you. It's dumb, but apparently it's good for shiny hunting, whatever. The main gimmick though is Mega Evolution. It's pretty much a win button. There are certain Pokemon that can Mega Evolve and become more powerful temporarily. It also changes their appearance, but your mileage may vary on whether they actually look good. You get this ability about halfway through the game from this pair of eyebrows posing as a human. Why do these incredible abilities always seem to come in bracelet form? I have no clue what the real mechanics behind this are, I just know it made Blastoise stronger and look dumber. And as long as we're considering looks, the graphics in this game are a bit weird. Not exactly bad, but weird. All the characters are cute little chibis, which looks nice enough, but some of them get unique character models that are more detailed. And they look kinda weird to me. Like, the bodies are just a bit too realistic for a Pokemon game, and I don't really get why they did this because it creates an odd inconsistency. When you battle these characters, they have their own animations for starting the battle and when they lose, which is fine, but everyone else is just a static image. It almost feels unfinished. This issue was resolved in Sun and Moon, which I think found a nice middle ground for the level of detail on the character models, but that's for another review. Speaking of character models, let's talk about the character customization. So there's a bunch of different clothing stores in various towns and their selection changes every day. That's fine, not the best system, but whatever. In the beginning I had trouble affording any new outfits, but I came into some money later on, thank you Amulet Coin. So your outfit is completely customizable, except you can't take off your hat. I'm serious, you can't take off your hat. You can change your hat, add an accessory to it, total hat customization. but you can't take it off. The only person who can remove your hat is a hairstylist, and only when you're getting your hair cut. The top of your head is clearly cursed. But speaking of haircuts, you can get your hair cut. And the haircuts are something that I feel hasn't reached their full potential to this day. You can make your hair short or long, there's a handful of different styles and colors you can choose, but they're all pretty normal and boring. Yeah, this is boring. Come on, where's some creative styles, a mohawk, anything? And why am I restricted to natural hair colors? Let's get some dyes in here. The only reason I can think of why there aren't more options is because it would conflict with the hat, but they didn't improve this in the following games either, so what's the deal? Another quirk this game has is the camera angles. I think the developers were really excited about all the things they could do with 3D, so they decided to do everything. And it's more than a little disorienting, especially in Lumio City. The camera just goes all over the place. Sometimes it'll be behind you, other times it'll be 100 miles away. Sometimes when you go to heal your Pokemon, the angle will change at random. It's really unnecessary. It doesn't help that the circle pad defaults to roller skates, which, while fun to use, are a bit harder to control. It's especially a problem for those prone to simulation sickness. Like me. But it's fine, we're here for the battles, right? There's plenty of those. You battle, take on gyms, and eventually fight the Elite Four. And honestly, the game makes it about as unexciting as my previous sentence sounded. When I reached the last gym and got told to go fight the Elite Four, I was actually shocked because there was no real lead up to it. While I was live streaming, I kept getting chat comments that the game was boring. And I've got to agree for the most part. Only a couple of gyms and locations really stood out, the characters are all pretty bland, and the story feels pointless. Pokémon X and Y feels like a paint-by-numbers Pokémon game. There's nothing really all that innovative in it, the story is weak, and it's just a bit dull overall. Now, I will acknowledge when it came out, it was cool because 3D, first of its kind and whatnot, but today, I'd rather recommend Sun and Moon. Or, just wait for Sword and Shield. You guys know no matter how it turns out, that game is gonna sell like crazy, don't kid yourselves. I should go work on that compilation. So if you want to see what's next, subscribe, and the next review will be posted soon. I promise. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.